What happens when a location known for its history, mystery, and legendary reputation becomes the foundation of a psychological horror experience? That is the idea behind Welcome to Kowloon, a game that takes inspiration from the infamous Kowloon Wallet City in Hong Kong and transforms it into a place filled with dark secrets, isolation, and fear. Instead of focusing on fast-paced combat or constant action, Welcome to Kowloon takes a different approach by creating horror through atmosphere, exploration, and the feeling that something is always wrong. From the moment you enter its cramped hallways and aging apartments, the game creates an experience designed to make you feel trapped. Every dark corner, every distant sound, and every empty room builds the question of what could be waiting around the next corner. The game's biggest strengths come from its visual design, sound direction, and ability to create a constant sense of unease. However, while Welcome to Kowloon succeeds at building a disturbing atmosphere, it also has some drawbacks, including its short length, limited gameplay options, and technical issues that prevent it from becoming a must-play horror experience. So the big question is, does Welcome to Kowloon deliver a nightmare worth experiencing, or does it fail to become what it is, or to actually escape the shadows? So let's find out. In Welcome to Kowloon, players take on the role of a university student searching for an affordable place to live. After looking for a new home, you discover an available apartment located inside the legendary Kowloon Wallet City. At first, it seems like a perfect opportunity. The location is available, the prices is affordable, and it appears to solve the problem of finding a new place to stay. But what starts as a simple search for an apartment quickly turns into something much more sinister. After moving into your new home, you begin to notice that something about the building does not feel right. The hallways feel empty, but somehow alive. The rooms feel uncomfortably small, and the people living there appear to be hiding in secret that they do not want you to discover. Your landlady initially seems like a normal person offering you a place to stay, but as you spend more time inside the building, the true nature of your surroundings starts to reveal itself. The game does not present its story through long cutscenes or constant explorations. Instead, Welcome to Kowloon relies heavily on environmental storytelling. The building itself becomes one of the most important characters in the experience. The damaged walls, abandoned rooms, strange objects, and uncomfortable living conditions help create the feeling that you are exploring a place with a dark history. The fears come from not knowing everything that is happening around you. The game leaves players with questions, allowing the environment to provide the answers. Who are the people inside the building? What really happened here? And why does this place feel like it is trying to keep you from leaving? Those questions keep the player moving forward and help create the mystery that makes the experience work. When it comes to the presentation, Welcome to Kowloon is where the game delivers its strongest performance. From the first moment you walk into the apartment complex, the game creates an immediate feeling of discomfort. The environment is designed to make you feel confined, with narrow walkways, small rooms, and a layout that makes it feel like the building is slowly closing in around you. The art direction does an excellent job capturing the feeling of an overcrowded urban environment. Ancient concrete walls, cluttering living spaces, dim lighting, and abandoned areas help create a world that feels both realistic and disturbing. One of the most impressive parts of the visual design is how much detail exists within the environment. Every room feels like it has a story behind it. The game uses dark colors, heavy shadows, and occasional neon lighting to create a style that feels like a mix between urban decay and distorted nightmare. The location never feels like a simple backdrop. Instead, the entire building feels like a threat. The sound design also plays a huge role in creating the horror experience. Welcome to Kowloon understands that silence can sometimes be more frightening than loud jump scares. The quiet moments create uncertainty and force players to pay attention to every sound around them. Distant footsteps, unknown noises behind walls, electrical hums, and environmental effects makes it feel like you basically are never completely alone. The abandoned soundtrack also supports the dark atmosphere with creepy electric tones and unsettling audio effects that build suspense without taking control away from the environment. When it comes to creating an uncomfortable atmosphere, Welcome to Kowloon successfully delivers one of its strongest strengths, and it also runs at 60 frames per second on the Xbox Series X, but not 100% stable. Welcome to Kowloon is built around exploration, discovery, and psychological horror rather than action. This is not a game where us players will be fighting enemies or collecting weapons to survive. Instead, the main focus is exploring the building, finding clues, and uncovering the mystery surrounding your new home. The walking simulator style fits the horror design because it forces us players to slow down and experience the environment. Every hallway feels important, every room feels like it could contain a new discovery, and every moment of silence creates expectation that something could change. The biggest success of the gameplay is how well it makes us players feel trapped. The building feels like a maze, and the limited space makes exploration feel uncomfortable. The game creates a fear by making players feel vulnerable inside an environment they do not fully understand. The horror comes from the experience itself. The game uses psychological elements, environmental storytelling, and disturbing imagery, and carefully placed jump scares to keep us players invested. However, the simplicity of the gameplay can also be a weakness. Players looking for more complex mechanics, puzzles, survival elements, or combat may find the experience too basic. Welcome to Kowloon is very clear about what type of game it wants to be. It is a short, atmospheric horror experience that prioritizes feeling over gameplay depth. The biggest issue is the length. Most players will complete the game in around about an hour, which allows the experience to stay focused, but it also makes it feel like there was more potential left unused. The world created here is interesting enough that many of us players will wish there was more to explore. Like many indie horror experiences, Welcome to Kowloon is not without its problems. During my playthrough, the game was completable, but I did experience some technical issues that affected the overall polish. There were occasional stability problems, including moments where the game would freeze or require a restart. I also experienced small audio issues and minor visual glitches that interrupted the immersion. While these issues was not constant, they did stand out because the game relies so heavily on its atmosphere. Performance was genuinely acceptable, but there were a few instances of frame drops and a slight input delays. The lack of replay value is also something to consider. Once you complete the story, there is not much reason to return unless you want to experience the atmosphere again or search for details you may have missed. Welcome to Kowloon is a horror experience that proves atmosphere can sometimes be more effective than action. Its dark environments, impressive sound design, and a unique setting that creates a memorable journey that feels different from many other horror games available today. The game successfully transformed the idea of the Kowloon Walled City into a place filled with mystery, fear, and uncertainty. However, its short runtime, simple gameplay design, limited replay value, and technical issues hold it back from reaching its full potential. For horror fans who enjoy atmospheric experiences focused on exploration and storytelling, Welcome to Kowloon is worth checking out. But for players looking for a longer horror adventure with some gameplay depth, this experience may feel too limited. Welcome to Kowloon is a creepy and interesting horror experience that succeeds because its atmosphere, even if it falls short in other areas. But for me, I personally don't recommend it 100%. For that, I give Welcome to Kowloon a 2 out of 5. Thank you for tuning into the best place for independent gaming journalism, and that's the Gamer section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications for more gaming reviews, news, interviews, and indie game coverage. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.